I'm working on getting ready for a small show I have based on my playing cards. I'm getting ready, as you can see on my table there, and yeah, I'll raise the image. And this is a video. I'm listening to the Richie Allen show. I like this Richie Allen guy. He actually interviewed Dana Durnford on the Fukushima issue. And I'm listening. I listened to Jordan Maxwell going off on a bunch of stuff. Jordan Maxwell is magnificent. His insight and understanding, his intelligence is wonderful in terms of words, the meaning of words, what it is that we're basing our culture on, the assumptions that people make about words. He said one thing about news is north, east, west, and south based on the constellations. He has insight, understanding about things. And you know, when you do stuff over a period of time, you have insight and understanding, you get smart, you get good. And I'm listening to Richie Allen show, interviewing some guy called Robert Morningstar, some enlightened type. What's wrong with enlightenment? That's what I say. What is the problem I have with enlightenment? These types that are contacted by the center of the universe, the cosmos, communicates with these people. Actually, I don't know who it was. Somebody, whether it was Jordan Maxwell, or this guy said he had a vision of a blue woman. I actually had visions of a blue woman several times in my half state of sleep. But I put it in perspective, not from the point of view of esotericism and the cosmos. What's wrong with all of this? And I'm going to play a little bit of a sound bite from this interview with this Robert Morningstar guy. And what I'm just gonna play it now, and then I'll make a comment. And this is also in response to Billy Johnson saying, "Too bad not a lot of people are watching your stuff because it makes a lot of sense to Billy." Billy kind of gets wired on, I guess, on some of the things I'm talking about. But Billy, it doesn't matter, because the energy actually is what this guy talks about, this sort of cosmic thing. I'm not in line with the esoteric guys on this level, but it does emanate, even though there are like 50 views on a video that should maybe have 50,000 or 50 million. I don't care. It's still an energy. I make my videos because the energy, I need to produce the energy like a painting. Nobody will see the painting, but even making the painting is a form of expression of this, what I will call conscience. And these people don't get it. Maxwell Jordan doesn't get it. This guy doesn't get it. But I'm going to play you a little sound clip. And just as a little lead in, I'm going to tell you, this is a revision of the Cain and Abel story. You'll hear it. Listen to this.
And these are the words of Christ to him, said to him. And we all hear, see, the Godhead knew them because we were in a perfectly telepathic state. So whatever.
Okay, Cain and Abel. Now he's talking about Lucifer and the cosmic Christ, some entity called the cosmic Christ. And it always comes back to love. I'll make my comment after. Okay, listen to this.
Anyone thought, we all knew it, we all thought it, except that Lucifer was encased in his own crystalline ego, and his thoughts did not extend beyond himself. He did not know that we were all one Trinity. So at that moment, when he's challenged to slay his brother, Cosmic Christ said to him, "Oh, my brother, can you not see that he and you and I are one in three? And if you try to slay me, you will only slay your own true self. No, I will not fight you." And he turned his back on him and walked away in this cosmic sphere which had been formed. And at that moment, a murderous rage ensued in Lucifer. And Lucifer said, "I will slay him. I will tear his heart apart, and I will cast it to the four corners of the universe. Then I alone will be king." And in that moment, when he had that thought, he had that murderous impulse, he leapt like a lion to murder the cosmic Christ. But at the moment that he thought that thought, and he had that impulse, the Godhead, the cosmic Christ, and I all knew it instantly. And when he made his leap to kill the Christ evaded him, just stepped out of the way. And Lucifer struck the cosmic vault.
Aikido.
And he destroyed that nature that he had even then. And he splattered off this cosmic wall, liquidated, literally liquidated, turned into a roiling, sliming mass. And at that moment, Christ wept for him. He wept for his brother who had died, never having known love. And he gave out a wail that I dare not let out.
He's privy to the wail.
The cry of love is what I call it.
Cry of love.
When he let out that wail in my trance, I screamed it myself. And my soul came back into my body through my throat chakra. And this is what I consider the initiation or the opening of my throat chakra. And it has imparted upon me the gift of the word, my ability to express myself.
Why you, Robert? When you think back to that.
All right. There we go. Okay. Now, what I call this is the merchant, or probably more accurate, the magicians of wishful thinking. Now, he has just related a story, which is in mythology, Christian mythology, Jewish mythology, about the murder of your brother. And I actually reflected in my work on this concept of fratricide. This is what he's talking about. That the basis of our civilization, of the cosmos, is this primeval event of Lucifer and Christ. Now he replaces Abel and Cain with Lucifer and Christ, which is a kind of curious, I've never heard of this before. But here is, I'm just going to give a very brief synopsis about this story, the fratricide, and then I'm going to try and articulate why these types of people are irrelevant to us, because we're now facing a threat, the way he understands it, in terms of Lucifer and Christ. Fukushima and the nuclear criminal syndicate have actually subjected ourselves to a monumental epic battle. Now we're facing a battle. And I, as a painter, as an artist, I look at, from a creative point of view, I want to understand the cosmos. And then all these merchants, these magicians of illusions, these smoke and mirror types come out and invoke some mythology about their enlightenment. What's so fantastic about enlightenment? It hasn't worked. I'm going to get to it very quickly. I'm not going to make this long. So the idea of Cain and Abel, and this is my understanding in a mythological format. These are archetypes. Carl Jung, if you read Carl Jung, he will explain that there are we have a fundamental nature that is universal. He calls them archetypes. And these archetypes exist in mythologies. The reason they exist in mythology isn't because mythology was ahead of our archetypes. No, we existed before. And our behavior, our nature is understood by people that, I don't know, artists, people, priests, the priesthoods of understanding figure this out. So Cain and Abel, I'll give you my synopsis. He's saying, Lucifer wanted to kill the Christ and he was so powerful and it didn't work. So it's another version of the Cain and Abel story. But in the Cain and Abel story, there is a little sequence. If you go to Genesis, and if you look at Genesis and you read Genesis, the beginning of Genesis where Eve bears children, and when Cain comes along, somebody humped Eve and she says, I have begotten a son from the Lord. Ooh, it's not from Adam. Read this in scripture. She says, I've gotten a son from the Lord. And it happens to be Cain. And Cain is the character that gets banished to the land of Nod, which is east of Eden, which is a magnificent place, a land of all possible possibilities. So Cain is a very high character. Now he is equating Lucifer with Cain and the Abel character with Jesus, I guess. This is going to ruminate in your brains. This guy is now trying to destroy, through his own enlightenment, the fundamental story of our archetypes. And the Cain character is the character that connects us to what he calls the Godhead or whatever. And I'm going to tell you what Cain connects us to. Cain is the archetype that connects us to conscience, that makes us do the right thing. Now, they talk about love, like this universal power of the cosmic Jesus, the love and all that. Forget the goddamn love, people. Why doesn't this person evoke the most critical event in the history of humanity on this planet? If it's happened over and over again over 1 billion years, well, I don't want to go through it again on my watch. I don't want to continue this pattern the way this charlatan wants to continue the pattern with these erroneous mythologies. We need to do the right thing. So why does he equivocate on this story of Cain and Abel, the Cain and Abel story, which essentially Cain never killed anybody? Cain never killed anybody. So he's replacing Cain with Lucifer and Christ with the Abel character. And this is one of the things that upsets me so much about this, because we're facing a life and death, literally, not just spiritually. We're physically facing a life and death story. We're in a life and death battle with Fukushima and the nuclear radiation coming out of this plant and all the other plants. We're on like a real short timeline. So my point is, why doesn't he open his pie hole on the actual destruction and death he wants to promote through some fictitious, mental, wishful thinking illusion that he has about some Lucifer character or some cosmic Christ character? People, these archetypes exist in us, and they separate themselves. The religion guys try to create a good and evil scenario, but the fact is that you and I can do the right thing. Every day, every time, we can do the right thing. How do we get to that position? Do we invoke the mythologies of the past, which have relevance and importance? He's manipulating these archetypes. He's creating Luciferian and cosmic Christ scenarios that have no relevance to you or me, because he misses the main event. He misses current events. He misses that we're now in the fight for our lives, and Fukushima is the fight for our lives. Make no mistake about this. No matter how much you invoke the esotericism of everything that is, there is still the reality of you and me. And no matter how much I would love to abandon this, if I did, actually I don't personally, I don't want to abandon this. I embrace this life. I love life. I love plants, animals, people. I love everything around me, and it's being taken away from us. And this charlatan doesn't mention it once. And I like Richie Allen. I mean, the guy's, he's great. He's okay. But then why do you have to resort to this sort of level of wishful thinking, the illusion, these magicians that try to usurp our birthright? What I talk about, our birthright is to be able to exist in this cosmic reality, whatever that is, our planet, our earth, and do the right thing. It's conscience. It's not consciousness. Consciousness is everything. They bring it up all the time. Oh, consciousness and life. Well, there is a third part. If you want to talk about your three entities, we're a trinity. It's consciousness, life, and conscience. Those three things go together completely. And this is the trinity that has been ignored by these types. And it just gets me upset. I listened to Richie Allen. I said, okay, who's this Morningstar character? And he's like a black belt in everythingness, you know. So, okay, listen to the black belt of everythingness, and the world is coming apart at the seams. So my continuous message at this time of year, like I said, everything was for a child when I was young. Everything was downhill after Christmas. Everything built up to Christmas, and everything was downhill for me after Christmas. So I think I'll end it here. I think I've said enough. And Billy Johnson, it doesn't matter that people watch my video. I'm making the videos because the energy goes out through this kind of digital thing, and more importantly, through the work that I make, the paintings that I'm making, and I'm working on a show. I actually, somebody called me up and said, why not put up your work? And it's actually, it's a show among the oligarchs. I'm going to meet some oligarchs. Hopefully, I'll meet some oligarchs. See how I hold my own with the oligarchs. And these paintings are the most lovable paintings I've ever made, my card paintings. So there you go. Don't listen to these magicians of illusion invoking the esoteric and the cosmic Jesus. Whenever you hear cosmic Jesus and Lucifer and Vatican and priests and all, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's Fukushima. It's Fukushima, people. Fukushima is rampaging through the China shop of life, destroying everything, and they can't open their goddamn pie holes on what's really happening to us. They want to invoke all this other stuff, and it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. I think I'll have my cigar and a scotch now and settle down. Talk to you later.